Welcome to the Record Stop. I'm your host for today, Alex Irwin, and I'm here to talk about the wonderful world of vinyl. On our last segment, I talked about how to properly handle your vinyl records when taking them out of their jacket. Now you have your vinyl record out and about, but how does the music come from the grooves? The answer lies in the stylus, and more importantly, the cartridge. Now, before we can understand how the stylus and cartridge come into play, we have to brush up on the grooves and the sound waves they represent. The way sound works is through sound waves. These sound waves are generated by vibrations. They travel through the air in waves, compressing and contracting. The particles in the air are vibrating essentially, and the compression and contraction of these particles is what makes the wave-like shape. The transfer of energy through these vibrations is what causes your eardrums to vibrate, causing what we perceive as sound. The grooves on a record are essentially the fingerprint of sound. They are what the sound waves would look like if they were a 3D object. Record cutting machines capture the behavior of sound waves and transcribe it directly onto the record. Now that we understand how the sound is captured onto a record, we can begin to explore how it is read off that same record. This is done by the use of a stylus and cantilever, commonly referred to as a needle. A stylus is the cut diamond on the end of the metal rod you see sitting on a record as it spins. This diamond is what actually fits into the grooves. The metal rod it is attached to is called the cantilever. As the record spins, the stylus traces and vibrates in the groove. These vibrations are what's needed to turn the grooves into sound. But before that can happen, it must be turned into electrical signals. This is done by the cartridge. The cartridge is what holds the cantilever. It's the small box attached to it. It turns vibrations into electrical signals. You'll often see 4 small colored wires coming out of the back of it. That's how you know the part you're looking at is indeed the cartridge. The cartridge is attached to the head shell, the part you pick up with the small finger handle to put the stylus on a record. How the cartridge turns vibrations into electrical signals depends on what type of cartridge it is. There are 2 primary types, the moving magnet and the moving coil. The moving magnet cartridge features exactly what its name suggests, a moving magnet. As the cantilever vibrates from the stylus in the groove, it also vibrates a set of magnets it's connected to inside the cartridge. These magnets then vibrate between a set of coiled wires inside the cartridge, in doing so, producing electrical currents. These electrical currents are then sent onward in the system. Moving magnet cartridges are more common as they are more amateur-friendly. You can replace the stylus if it breaks and are incredibly robust. However, they are heavy and lack much in the high-frequency spectrum. When it comes to the moving coil cartridge, it works in the exact opposite way. The cantilever has a set of coils on the end of it inside the cartridge and vibrates between 2 magnets. This action produces an electrical current, which is sent onward in the system. Moving coil cartridges are a lot lighter, which means less downward inertia and thus a higher frequency response in the grooves of the record, as the stylus isn't being forced into the grooves, allowing it to move more freely, creating a more detailed reproduction of the sound wave. All in all, records are really just the embodiment of a sound wave, and the stylus and cartridge work in tandem to read the grooves of your vinyl records and transform that movement and embodiment into electrical signals to be used later to make the sound you hear. The sound you hear being the sound waves caused by vibrating air particles, compressing and contracting. On the next segment, I will teach you how these signals get sent through the turntable and how it arrives to the amplifier. See you at the next stop.